The Ridgeway Review starts right now. RDOT finishes its 2026 summer infrastructure project, introducing a new toll road and the George Tunnel. Several new businesses open up in the Milton-Racine Junction. Challenges in the legal system prompt 2 judges to resign. RCFD Station 1 Toll 6 opens near the Racine Junction. An update on where to buy your guns and ammunitions for as cheap as possible. And now, live from the Palmer Times in Palmer Ridgeway, it's the Ridgeway Review.
Hi guys. Oh God.
Yeah, it's a lot of money sitting on top of my head here tonight.
All right. Do you want to
Call
start
the
us off?
salary. We can start us off. Can I start us off, Timbo?
Yeah, you can start us off.
Okay, but then I'd be reading, "Good evening, Ridgeway. My name is Helen. I see. Is that what you want me to read? You want me to read for you?
Yeah, you can read from me.
Okay. Good evening, Ridgeway. My, my name is Helen I see, and welcome to this week's edition of the Ridgeway Review. News in Ridgeway has been rather dry this week, but we're still dedicated to providing you with the news we could find, while also making it as entertaining as possible. Anything else you want to say? We're going to start off with the Secretary of State, Robot 2736.
You're not supposed to read that part.
No, they get it all. We don't skip out on nothing.
Yeah, you get the fully raw, uncut version here at the Palmer
Yes.
Times.
No skimping.
No skimping.
I'm not skimpy. Are you skimpy?
I'm Stampy Longnose, actually. All right, let's get a move on here. Let's get a move on. Okay, we have Roblox rules here. Roblox rules 7565 live. Oh, here we go. Coming at us live from his penthouse in Palmer. That's right, in Milton, from the 5th floor. Hi, how's it going tonight?
Hey, it's actually going great.
Mr. Secretary of State, you're supposed to speak.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good. Hope you're having a terrific evening tonight. Thank you for joining us today on the Palmer Times. I'm supposed to treat you like a politician because you are one. Good evening, how are you? Okay, I already said that. Sorry. Saturday, the Department of State released the June 2026 census results. Can you explain why the Department of State decided to release the results of the census despite the relatively small sample size, and how disproportionate the sample was compared to Ridgeway's demographics? I'm not a mathematician, I'm not an economist, at least from Ridgeway, but I know for a fact that there's more than like 60 people that are active players in Ridgeway, and I mean right now you can just look at the leaderboard and see that there's a terrific amount of residents, a lot of law enforcement, National Guard. How come the sample size on the census was so small?
So, unfortunately, we didn't get as many responses as we wish we would. I think we got 59 responses in total. Even though we got such a low number, we still went ahead into the census. We figured that we would work with what we had, and that's what we did. The census went relatively well, even though we had such a small sample size. Fortunately, though, we are working with developer oversight to get more insight, more data, including like housing logs, more in-depth data. That way we're not relying on a small group of players who decided to fill out the form, because we would have liked to see more than 59 responses, but we worked with what we had, and the Department of State is happy with the result of the census.
Okay. I have a question for you. I myself filled out the census as a dutiful citizen of the state of Ridgeway. And I mean, I had to sign into my Google account. I had to give my username. I had to give all these indicators. And I understand, you don't want people filling out duplicate forms, but, couldn't it have been easier to maybe just like, I know you're in game quite often. I appreciate the activity. You just come in game, you just see who's on the leaderboard. You just log their name into a Google spreadsheet and what team they're on, and that kind of I know it's a bit more brute force and less automated than a Google sheet, but I mean, you could go right now in Ridgeway and log everybody's name, or even just take a picture and have AI, to transcribe everything from the photo onto a Google sheet. And I mean, just tonight you could get more responses than you got on your census that was out for like a week.
I mean, we could do that. We're trying to figure out different ways to collect data, but for this first census, we really just wanted to do it regularly, normal, and we worked with the data we had. Developer oversight, though, is giving us more insight, more data. So hopefully the next census next month, on top of the responses on the Google form, we're going to have housing data, player data, and hopefully a larger pool, 59 people. Additionally, we have plans to work with departments to make employment statistics, and we'll use that same data for the census. But for this first census, we didn't branch out that much. We just used the standard form and used this as our test run for the first census under my administration.
Look, I can appreciate the efforts, and we all commend you. We appreciate your activity, and we appreciate that you regularly post announcements. But I think the department has some work to do. I'm not your boss. I didn't put you in that job, but I strongly encourage you to investigate other means of collecting this data. You could just download every Google sheet of every department, and look, there's options out there. But I applaud you for taking on this census, and I realize that it's not going to be perfect the first time, and each time it's going to improve. But we appreciate you. Thank you. On to the next question. I'm sorry if we kind of dwelled on that a little long. I wasn't supposed to talk about the census for that long, but recently we had a major Milton update. The George Tunnel, I like to call it the Gorge Tunnel, but the George Tunnel opened up to Milton, linking Palmer with an expressway. And there's quite a few new commercial properties. As some citizens have noticed, the Shmira Public Safety Department has taken up shop in the Racine Junction, providing public security to the citizens of our great state and the people of the city of Milton. I was hoping to know if you could tell us a bit about the general process of selecting businesses for storefront property, whether it be at the Milton Plaza or be at the Palmer Plaza.
Yeah, the new Milton plots. I was excited to find out about those by developer oversight, considering developer oversight is not particularly known to give developers business support. So the way we leased out these properties was we released an announcement. We got people who expressed interest in these Milton plots, and then we issued them based off of prior activity, the way they'd used the plots, and God bless Shmira. They are one of our most active security companies in the state of Ridgeway. And matter of fact, I think they are guarding the door to my penthouse to make sure that we do not get shut up. I chose to give them a Milton plot with the guidance of Squarehead Dude, as they are in close proximity to all the new things, and Shmir is committed to keeping the community safe. For the other plots, the Milton Tribune, one of the new up-and-coming news agencies, they were able to get to one of the unique plots in the Racine Junction. Unfortunately, their plot's bugged, so we haven't been able to see much from them. But to answer your original question, the process is we have a Google form in our commerce portal. People can express interest there. One of the criteria is you have to actually use the plots. So we discourage people from registering these plots if they're going to use them solely to put desks and chairs in there, call it an office, and never use it again. If we have open spots, we'll honor it, but we're always looking to make sure that people who want to open a business, people who want in-game property, and who actually use it in-game, always get their properties.
Okay, that's terrific. I did notice that there are. Sorry. I do hope we get to see the Milton Tribune start hosting things at their property. That'd be very exciting to have another broadcast. All right, on to the next question. Thank you for
Hold
that.
on, pause. Excuse me. I got a little birdie told me something that I kind of just wanted to bring up with you. Back to Shmirma or Shmira or however you say it.
Shmira.
Shmira. There's been some rumors that they're taking money from APAC. Can you confirm or deny this?
Currently, I am not aware of any of that, nor is it my business Secretary of State to be involved in financial, their financial situation. But Shmira has been a big contributor to public safety in Milton and Palmer, so they continue to keep our community safe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a Shmira certified attorney, actually, so I do support the community, and I do support the fight against anti-Semitism. Alrighty. Now, Mr. Secretary of State, how do you think your term is moving along so far? Recently, or not recently, but for the first time, your position is now appointed by the governor. You still do have to pass the Senate, which is fair enough, but back in the day, we had people running for Secretary of State. As I'm sure everybody in this voice chat knows, Alex Neptune's absolutely infamous Secretary of State, very well known for his activity, lack thereof. And you are now in a position where you kind of don't really have to answer to the people. The governor is setting his agenda and appointing you, and I'm sure that there's overlap in sort of priorities and stuff, but it's kind of changed the job, right? You're no longer fighting for re-election every term. It's now sort of, I don't want to make the relationship sound overly subservient, but like you're kind of going to keep yourself in good graces with him, fulfill your agenda. How would you say the job has changed now that it's an appointed position? And I know you were never elected, but how do you think the job has changed now that it's an appointed position? And then how do you think your term has progressed overall?
So to answer your first question, I believe that working alongside the governor is extremely beneficial. Being able to consult with the governor, being able to attend those cabinet meetings, and collaborate easier across departments, I think we took a step in the right direction by making appointed. So to answer your first question, I'm in game a lot, so I do like to interact with business owners. I like to interact with people. So I do believe I still answer to the public a lot. I take public feedback in general chat all the time, but also at the same time, the governor, when he has his agenda, I try my best to implement that. I try my best to do what I want to do, the governor wants to do, the people want to do. So to answer the question, I think the job has changed, but I think it's changed for the better, as I'm able to collaborate with the governor to make sure that the department is moving in the correct direction, and we get to do things with other departments. Additionally, speaking of doing events with other departments, the Department of State, we are planning a Grand Prix and a job fair. So we are excited to collaborate with different departments there. So to answer your second question about how my term is moving along, I am really happy with all the progress we've made. I started in Ridgeway, and the previous Secretary of State...
You sturdied in Ridgeway. You got sturdy at Racine Junction?
Sorry?
You said you got sturdy in... You sturdied, you
No,
got sturdy in Ridgeway.
I got started in Ridgeway.
Oh,
So were you getting sturdy with like grab on a roll in Racine Junction? Listening to Pop Smoke?
I mean, sure, why not?
All right, thank you. Please carry
Excuse me
on.
for a second. Excuse me for a second. You little shitheads behind the Palmer Times TV. Get the hell away. We don't do free promotions. You got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Please continue, Mr. Secretary of State.
All right, so to answer your second question about how my terms are moving along, I'm extremely happy with the progress we've made. We started with nothing in Ridgeway. The former Secretary of State, Molestia Mandani, he unfortunately left, so I started with pretty much no resources. I had no prior Secretary of States to have as an advisor, and Governor Rathouzen and I, we have together built up this department from the ground up. We've brought back the Palmer Plaza, which the Palmer Plaza was broken for a while, and it took me about 3 weeks of pinging daily to developer oversight to get it fixed. So I am very excited that we have the ability to give businesses in-game properties. Additionally, we've been working with the governor's office to incorporate employment statistics. We've released the census, which is the major first step in future ones every month. And I'm very happy with how commerce is coming back to Ridgeway. So to answer your question, I think my term is moving along very well. I think we made good progress, and I'm excited to see what else the department does.
Okay. Now, last question here for you, Mr. Secretary of State. Simply BTZ, former employee of the Department of State, was fired under very suspicious circumstances after getting into a very public debacle with the governor and government updates. Is there anything you can tell us about that?
So Simply BTZ, he has been reinstated by the courts. So he is currently employed with the Department of State. Simply BTZ, he worked as our Assistant Secretary of State in the Commerce Wing. I mean, he was put on administrative leave and terminated, but it was not under suspicious circumstances. He was being very insubordinate, and my goal as Secretary of State is to get things done, and he was making it very complicated. He was slowing progress down, and he was being insubordinate to many members in official communications.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I think that's...
I've actually got a question. So have you heard anything about these truckers lately? I've heard there's a little bit of discourse in the trucker community. You got
Yes,
anything to say on that?
yes, former Attorney General Dario Powell, he is the new owner of the Ridgeway Truckers Union. I have met with another business, I think it's Ridgeway Convoy Logistics, who they focus on trucking, getting people started. So I'm very excited. There's many new trucking businesses, and I have been out there to support all of them. I wish them nothing but success.
Do you support Dario Powell?
I support Dario Powell, the owner of the Ridgeway Truckers Union.
Okay. Good to
I
know.
wish him all the best.
I got one last thing. I saw that you DM'd me, hey, what's going on with everything on your head? And what I'd like to respond to that is, I don't know.
brother.
There's a lot of money on my head right now.
This broadcast would, okay, sorry, actually, just to conclude this segment, thank you for coming on, Mr. Secretary of State. We appreciate your time. I hope you have a good evening in your penthouse and that Shamira keeps you safe.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Oh,
Alrighty.
in between segment music.
In between segment music, we haven't We have an in-between segment message here. The Palmer Times is happy to make one of its first of 2 endorsements tonight, maybe 3, but first of 2 endorsements tonight. The Palmer Times is proud to endorse Large Titanic 2 for Governor 2022. Large Titanic 2 has been a pillar of this community, and we are proud to announce we support his run for governor in the upcoming 2022 election.
Wait, this is news to me. Large Titanic 2's coming back as governor?
For the 2022 election.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty. On to our next segment. With the opening of the wasted firearms in Milton City, Ridgeway deserves an accurate way to gauge where they want to purchase firearms based off prices. Here's Palmer Times owner Timbo Walk with more.
I'm in front of Ridgeway's newest gun store, Wasted, in Milton City. With the grand opening just a couple of days ago, the Palmer Times has found it very necessary to provide you with easy to access and accurate information on the cheapest places to buy your
I'm gonna have
firearms.
to ad-lib it.
Starting with the Stetson M1. The best place for you to buy the Stetson M1, the cheapest place would be at Wasted Firearms located
Oxnard, the
in
Stetson
Milton City.
M1 is
Starting second with
$1,500.
the
Sterling
Barrage
Gun Club is
1014. The
$1,600.
best place to buy
Ridgeway
that
Park
would be in
Service,
the Sterling Gun
$1,500.
Club located in Sterling, Ridgeway. The best place to buy your Klein 911 will be in the Ridgeway Park Service at the price of $410. Best place to buy your salvo will be at the Ridgeway Park Service for $200. Best place to buy your salvo snub will also be at the Ridgeway Park Service for $250. And finally, the only place to buy your Wessler will, of course, be at the Ridgeway Park Service. The best place to purchase your 9mm ammunition will be at the Ridgeway Park Service for $35. Best place to buy your shell ammo will be at Wasted Firearms located in Milton City for $50. The best place to buy your 5.56 ammo will be at Wasted Firearms located in Milton City. With gun prices raising after the economy change and the limit, the money limit being released, firearms have increased, and there has not been a clear indication on where the best place to buy your firearms are. You usually have to go find out for yourself. But the Palmer Times is here to make sure that to make this process slightly easy for you by releasing a easy to navigate system on where the best place to buy your firearms are based on where you are. This is Timbo Walk, Palmer Times, founder and owner.
Off here for legal issues, or do you want to take the last thing?
Oh my God, what a disaster! What the hell's going on in the legal community? Let me take a look here. Ooh. Ooh. Earlier in the wow. Yeah, what the hell's going on, legal? Yeah, you really got to step up your game here. Palmer Times is back. Why can't you guys do the same thing here? If you really want to fix the issue, you got to do it yourself. You got to get your boots in the mud here. But all right, let me cover this real quick. So earlier in the week, 2 of the state's most prominent judges in Ridgeway resigned, including Justice Lewis Howell and Chief Justice Enforcement Beyond, otherwise known as Fed. Both of them cited their resignations on the declining quality and attention being given to Ridgeway's rather complex legal systems. Very complex. I just tried to take the bar, by the way. Sensory overload. I lasted about 5 minutes before I gave up. The Department of Justice has failed to appoint counsel to several criminal cases, putting the situation in an even deeper hole. If that hole gets even deeper, really. With the resignations, there have been calls to revamp and overhaul the system from members of the legal community and Governor Rathison. Though these resignations have happened rather quickly, the purpose of them appear to be working by bringing attention to a dire situation the general public is unaware of, prompting a call for community input by developer oversight. And you know what? I gotta throw in my own 2 cents here. Yeah, there's probably some issues with the legal system because it's super boring. But you know what? I'm gonna speak from a personal situation. Running the Ridgeway Department of Transportation. You know what? No one wants to drive these buses, and you know what I did? I put my boots in the mud, and I put up bounty boards, and I'm giving my transit people rewards. Everybody's getting rewards in the Department of Transportation. Join now. Um, so stop using excuses, and get some work done. Anyways, that's my
Wow.
2 cents.
Terrific insight here from Toxie. I want to say, as the person in Ridgeway who utilizes the court website the most, I'm the clerk of the court, Superior Court. I use the website every day. I use the most, and I got to say, I don't approve of the way expungements are handled. Regular people regular people file expungements, not attorneys. It should be really simple. You should be able to go up to the front desk and file like you used to be able to. I think the website should only be for actual proper civil and criminal cases that require lengthy documents, affidavits, criminal information, documents detailing crimes and evidence, stuff like that. I think it's a little ridiculous. And it's not to say I don't appreciate the hard work if I'm not Rummy, but I think something needs to change. And I think Magistrate Stratton has pointed this out numerous times. In fact, he keeps repeating himself over and over again as if it's something we've never heard before, a duty court. But we appreciate Rummy, but we think this needs to change. And I mean, among other issues, there happens to be some more systematic issues like the lack of attorneys. Any qualified attorney eventually just moves up to being a judge, and we're at the point now where there's actually nobody really respectable to practice the law, because they've either left or the people that were remaining are, well, fuck. I'm not in my professional capacity here. Dev Tip is an idiot. I don't like that guy. And James Garda is a very good attorney, but he decides to troll all the time. If he took it seriously, I swear to God, he would be one of the greatest judges. But yeah, we're facing some systematic issues. I hope that Enforcement Beyond's resignation and Lewis Powell's resignation has brought a lot of attention to this, and I hope developer oversight, having put out their call asking us for their input, I hope that brings some meaningful change, because our system's really on life support, and it's very, very unfortunate. If you look back at the history of Ridgeway, the history of Noosa, the legal community has a very, very long history that has and has produced terrific people in the community who have gone on to do amazing things. I'm just drone on here, but I think something needs to be done, and I just want to say I appreciate everyone else who is still actively participating. He's got a couple of the audience here. Got Charles. Thank you, Charles. You're usually a pretty well-mannered attorney. Dariel, terrific attorney, regardless of trust your conduct as Attorney General. Just kidding. And BR will be joining us as an attorney one day. He's a very good attorney. Just kidding. I have no clue. All right, we're gonna move on to our next segment. Okay, I'm not supposed to read this next part about this project.
Do you skip?
I'm not allowed to talk about these two things.
Okay.
Oxy, I don't know what's up.
Monday, the Ridgeway Department of Transportation finished its highly anticipated 2026 summer infrastructure project. With it, it brings Ridgeway's first full toll road. US 795's purpose is to cut down the travel time from Palmer to Milton City, with the toll being $25, the same as it costs to travel to Milton using the Dularge Bridge on US 50. With the toll road, the George Tunnel opened, which is the tunnel that goes underwater to connect Palmer to Milton City.
$5, the same as the Dularge Bridge. The same as it costs to travel to Milton using Dularge Bridge. Okay, fuck. On US 50. My apologies to the audience. The toll road, the George Tunnel's opened. What? With the toll road, the George Tunnel opened, which is the tunnel that goes under the water to connect Palmer to Milton City. Okay, I understand now why I was not supposed to read that part. My apologies to my producer here.
Juneteenth is tomorrow.
We don't care about that. Come on, please. Seriously, we're going to talk about that.
Sorry, I kind of came with the name there. George Tunnel.
George Tunnel. Oh, alrighty. If my producer could slide the next card now, I'll read off the.
In Milton City, several new storefronts have
Several
opened and
businesses
are
open
ready
up
for
in the heart of
tenants,
Milton.
most notably being the new apartment complex, which brings 7 brand new apartments to the heart of Milton City, with all of the apartments having their own floor of the building. Also included in the new buildings include Ridgeway's 4th gun store, wasted used firearms and rifles, located in the Racine Junction. Also featured in the new storefronts include Mountain Motors' 2nd location, the only car dealership in the state to have 2 different locations. There, you can also spawn cars. Ridge Ads has also made its way to the Racine Junction. And finally, 3 brand new storefronts available to regular businesses have also opened in the Racine Junction, which can be leased using the Department of State's discretion. Is it?
Locations. And there's now additional car spawners. Ridge Ads has also made its way to the Racine Junction. And finally, 3 brand new storefronts available to the Department of State for them to lease. So we encourage any listeners, if you have a business that could utilize the storefront, we strongly encourage you to use it, to apply, because Roblox Rules, you just heard, is taking applications. Alrighty.
Got a question. Since you
Yes.
got the penthouse in Milton, does it feel good to look down on the citizens of Ridgeway?
I fucking hate poor people.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
No, you're rich, Toxie, don't worry.
Yeah, you're right.
I love looking down at the poor people of Milton. You know, those poor little kids trucking, making that money.
Oh. Is that shots fired towards the truckers union?
It's not shots fired towards the truckers. Everyone's got to make a living. To be quite frankly, apparently I emphasized I fucking hate poor people as Rathizen's mother came into his room. Hi, Rathizen's mother. 你好吗?
Oh no!
我要一杯红葡萄酒. Guys, I speak Chinese, so if Rathizen's mom heard me, Rathizen can't even speak Chinese, man. She's a freaking faker.
Oh, okay.
That was asking her to give me 1 glass of red wine.
1 glass of red wine, make that 2.
Yeah, give me, yeah. 我要2杯红葡萄酒. No, so 我要2杯喝红葡萄酒. Anyways, whatever. Let's continue on to the next segment. All right. Next we have with us is Governor Rathizen. Interview style. Treat him like a politician because he is one. Oxy. Okay, we got the feed hooked up here. We're looking at him.
Rathizen, get your butt up here, buddy. Hold on. Let me send an invite.
Yo, what's up?
Excuse me, Mr. Governor. We're supposed to introduce you, and you're supposed to follow the script. Please.
Oh, it's my fault.
Mute.
Hello, Mr. Governor. How are you doing tonight?
I was doing fine until you decided to start using language as soon as my mom came in here to wish me good night. But, I'm doing well otherwise. Thank you.
Oh, should I wish you good night in Chinese?
No.
Okay.
We only speak English at home.
Yeah, because you don't learn Chinese. You know, good boy. Bad boy.
Oh.
All right.
Whatever, bruh.
Rathizen, did your mom nod to when Helen just said that he hated poor people?
Yeah, she walked right in, but she didn't say anything. She just kind of looked at me and I was just like, oh, all right. I mean, good night, bro. I guess. I don't. See, the thing is, I don't wear AirPods. I don't have headphones in because I can't use my mic when I have them in. So I just have them off all the time. And she just happened to come in right as he said that. So.
Well, unfortunately, Rathizen is a poor person. He plays on a laptop, in fact, a MacBook. He doesn't even have a computer.
Oh, MacBook gaming.
That's why he sucks at PvP. That's why he sucks at PvP.
Don't hate. It's elite.
Hey,
yeah.
Laptop or MacBook, very expensive laptop. I would defend him on this. Very good laptop. As someone who's had one. Anyways, back to where were we here? Oh, I gotta treat you like a politician. Well, that's cat's out of the bag.
Alex, you want to take off the first point?
Yeah, sure. Earlier this week, you signed the Military Exclusion Zone and Installation Act, which expands the National Guard within the MES, or Military Enforcement Zone, for anyone who doesn't know what MES is, but I assume you all do because you're still in game, even though there's a 16+ requirement. Shots fired. Anyways, can you help us understand your rationale more?
Yeah, so this bill actually existed back in Ridgeway, but then we lost it after the, inaugural law rewrite. And basically, it just allows National Guard to use lethal force in the MEZ. I mean, obviously, if people are around causing crime in near the headquarters, then National Guard should be able to kill them. But this bill brings that back. It also changes some things with the State Guard. And it sort of, dials down on, how our National Guard should be able to protect and keep the installation safe whenever there's like high levels of crime in Ridgeway. So my whole rationale for signing it was just, to bring back a core feature of the National Guard and something they've always had to make it permanent.
Mr. Governor, have you ever considered just raising the fence like 2 feet on the RNG base so people can't just jump over it?
Dude, I wish, but we have that gate that's like completely useless, and then we just have this fence, and so there's like no like line of defense from the actual infrastructure. So now we're forced to, let National Guard shoot whoever, because the devs won't let, actually make the base of the military a real base.
Wow, insightful words here, resounding words from the governor. Mr. Governor, you started out as being, you started out as being the lieutenant governor. You succeeded to being governor. Ridgeway sort of went under new management as we transitioned away from Ridgeway to the old ownership. And you went from being an unelected governor, who, to be frank, I mean, nobody really liked you. And now you got reelected without, any opposition. And I guess what my question is to you now is, what's next for Ridgeway? What's next for you? What do you? I'm not trying to make this too broad of a question, but Ridgeway's future looks very uncertain, and we need strong leadership. What are you offering?
I mean, as I explained to the 250 something people that voted for me in this last election, mind you, is that, I brought stability, I brought activity back to Ridgeway. The government has been running, it's been operational. Every department has something they're doing, and, things are moving continuously, and I still bring that with my leadership. But obviously, our current focus right now is the legal community. I mean, the judiciary is a mess. There's no understating it. There's no going around it either. And I think our primary focus in the next few weeks is, doing everything we can from both a role play and a management standpoint for Ridgeway to fix that. I mean, I'm mostly focused on, finding more judges, more practitioners, changing the laws to be better for people who are new to practicing law in Ridgeway and more accessible rather than, the mess that it is right now. And I think what, my administration so far, apart from stability, I mean, we brought back a lot of, old things from the golden age of Ridgeway. We brought back censuses, we brought back live fires, other things like that. And we sort of, even with the Palmer Times here today, we sort of began to transition back into, the better days of what this group had. And I think, you see all the people in game right now. I don't think that the future of Ridgeway as a whole is grim. I just think that some areas of our government needs to be better, and I think we're working towards making that happen.
I would encourage the gentleman who's been putting his signs through the wall for this entire broadcast, who has a question about the Sterling Heights, wants me to talk about the Sterling Heights Bridge Patrol. If you'd like me to talk about it, just message me instead of putting your sign through the freaking wall. Sorry, Mr. Governor, with this to have this outburst, but this stupid idiot has been. All right, guys, I'm getting angry here. It's just Roblox, but just message me, man. I'll take your questions. Alrighty, Mr. Governor, next question here. Do you think that this could potentially look? We all make mistakes. New players are exploring the map constantly. Now, this new Military Exclusion Zone and Installation Act, right? It's authorizing the use of deadly force. It's allowing the military to kill people, right, on site, even if they're unarmed, just near the base, right?
No.
Maybe I have that wrong.
No, that's wrong.
Okay.
That's actually incorrect, Mr. Hellenick.
I prefer the name Mr. Helen. Thank you.
Helen.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, lethal force can only be used when civilians or like anyone else charges the base of the vehicle, or they cause harm, or they point a firearm at the base or they trespass, lethal force cannot be used when they're just like walking around or just being in the vicinity. So there has to be an actual reason to use lethal force. And, even despite this, our RNG is pretty strict on, following regulations, making sure the rules aren't being broken. I mean, a lot of people have been placed on AL or investigated or had, their stuff checked. So it's not really a case of, letting the National Guard do whatever they want. It's, establishing a foundation for lethal force and then making sure it's followed appropriately. So no, lethal force cannot be used whenever and however on the MEZ.
Okay, well, I have direct language here from the bill that says that if someone makes a U-turn, around the base, if someone makes turns around the base, then they can just be shot.
Yeah, if you U-turn twice or more in the MAZ, it's pretty obvious that you're not just there to get out of there and you're kind of just causing a mess for no reason. So, yeah, the bill authorizes using lethal force when you U-turn twice.
Okay, but can we not acknowledge that there are people who could be saving an immense amount of time by cutting through the base instead of going all the way through Sterling, all across the Memorial Bridge, all the way looping around? You get off at the first exit, the RSP substation, you take a right, or you can just cut through the base. People are exploring the map. Ridgeway's constantly getting new players. I can tell you for a fact, as someone who plays this game too much, when I look at the residence chart, there's a lot of names here I don't recognize. It feels like we're getting new players every day, and it feels like you're kind of punishing people for just driving near the base. They're not even out of their car.
I mean, respectfully, there are signs outside of the MEZ and the base that say, don't enter. There are indicators that tell people like, hey, this is the military space. You can't be around here. And, I mean, if you're gonna be near the base, it's fine. But if you're gonna U-turn, more than once, I mean, you're kind of sending the signal that, you should be reprimanded for what you're doing. So I don't think there's any issue with that. I mean, it's the National Guard's base. They have every right to do what they want on it. And, it's not like we're saying they can just kill whoever. I mean, this bill has so many other conditions for lethal force being used. So, no, I don't see an issue with that.
Okay. All right. I have another question here for you about the legal system here, jumping topics.
Sure.
I'm aware that recently there was the Money in Torts Act that was signed. And there are some concerns about the fees and making players pay more money in fines. However, a question I have for you is this. All too commonly, criminals in Ridgeway are able to avoid any prosecution by either ignoring summons, right? An RCSO deputy will make service. They'll just ignore the summons, and they get put on fugitive status. But for a career criminal who doesn't want to work in any jobs and just wants to buy guns at the illegal guns at Sterling Port and kill cops, that really isn't going to hamper them whatsoever, right? They can just ignore the summons, and then the court case can't proceed any further. I'm aware that in Clark that they do indeed do trials in absentia. Is there anything that the governor's office, the policy office, is exploring, and have you been in contact with any senators on perhaps bringing back absentia trials to punish these criminals who simply can avoid real prosecution in a court and get an actual conviction other than records they could just expunge one day? Is there anything that you are working on to sort of force these people to take part in the justice system?
Yeah, so I'm actually glad you brought that up because I did actually ask about absentia trials to members of the judiciary, and one of them pointed out that they're not a huge fan of absentia trials. They think that, if you participate in our system and you avoid, a summons, you should be declared a fugitive. I do see the argument that, people don't always check the list of fugitives, but I mean, then we also have the recourse of, doing in-game search warrants and doing some sort of notification that, hey, so-and-so is a fugitive from justice, they need to be arrested. And to be honest with you, I can't really give you a definitive answer on whether we'll bring back absentia trials legislatively, but I do know that, based on what I've heard already, there's already some opposition from the judiciary on making that happen. So in any sort of change that we implement to our legal system, I want to run by them so that it's actually followed. So that's my take on it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure we all know. I'm sure we all know, as we've spoken about, the justice system is in a pretty dire state, and we appreciate any attention that the governor's office is putting towards it. The Ridgeway Truckers Union, led by the great Mr. Daryl Powell, has been rather loud about what they believe is mistreatment. The fact of the matter is that there aren't many legal avenues of making money in this state. You know, people want to buy guns. As you saw with our earlier segment, the price of ammunition is quite frankly ridiculous. It's almost $100 for a round of 5.56 ammo in this city that we're broadcasting in. Trucking is the main lifeline, the main economic lifeline for the citizens in Ridgeway. And truckers are being unduly punished for just trying to make a living, put food on their table. What do you have to say about this?
I fully support the whole trucking movement in Ridgeway. I'm sure if you remember, Helen, about a year and a half ago, when we came back to Ridgeway, we were actually protesting the governor at the time, Matrix Ock, as truckers, and we had our own de facto trucking union. And we took to his estate and we protested when the Millen update came out. So I'm fully in support of the Ridgeway Truckers Union. You know, I can get behind their message. And in regards to wages, I was actually planning on announcing this tomorrow, but I plan on starting a commission to evaluate the wages of like every job in the state. As you know, Senator Aspenfund and I have been going back and forth on whether we should increase the wages and how much they should be increased by. But, you know, needless to say, we'll be addressing the lack of monetary gain for each job in our state and, you know, how much people are making. And I think that the prices of ammo will be no longer an issue once we resolve that.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Mr. Governor, last thing. Look. Actually, sorry. Talks, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I should do. What do you got to say about these absolutely outrageous prices on ammunition in the state? Honestly, I just want to be able to shoot people without having to worry about. I mean, self-defend
Wait, what?
myself.
You want to shoot people? Hold on. What?
Sorry, self-defend myself. Excuse me. Fake news. Are you gonna plan on like fixing this ammunition problem, or what's going on there?
Well, I agree. I think that the prices are too high, but I don't believe in lowering them. I just believe in increasing wages for everyone. And, you know, seeing which teams should get more, which teams should we balance, you know, salary wise. And I think doing that will fix the whole issue of, you know, ammo costing too much. It begins with, you know, changing how much people make.
That is true. And you know what? If you come work at the Palmer Times, we pay for you to write articles. So, you know, however you take that. Also, Mr. Governor, I saw you were asking something about me specifically. So might be on the top of my head. I heard you were asking about that. Is that true?
I was asking about you. I'm not sure. I don't recall.
Asking about whatever's going on the top of my head.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm not really sure why you spent all that money on that domino crown. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay. Next guest, please.
That's rich coming from a guy playing off a laptop. It's just got money like that.
Whatever.
It's my
Watching.
This is what some people might consider annual wages.
Bro, that is not drip. I'll be honest with you, that is not drip. That crown.
Get rid of him. Thank you, Mr. Governor.
Mr. Governor, what do you have to say? Oh, thank God he's not here, so he can't respond to you. Mr. Governor, Mr. Rathazin recently started copying Adam Stratton's unique outfit. And when asked about it, he said, no, this is my outfit. To which Adam Stratton said, I've been wearing that for longer than you've been on this platform. Anyways, can we get off the screen, actually?
Can we get off the screen, please?
You get off the screen. It's kind of gross to look at.
Excuse me, get him off the screen. Hurry up. Okay, this is ambushing. We're gonna sue for defamation.
Okay.
Notice how I said we? I've got a lawyer right next to me. Don't test me. This is defamation.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We're going to take our first call of the night here. We've spoken at length about Ridgeway's judicial system and the considerable troubles it's been having. That's why I'd like to invite now State Bar Director Charles LXV for a number of questions. Charles, please feel free to join us up here.
Activate camera zoom out. Was that
Actually,
I would like
wait,
to
you
personally
guys
state that I
wanna-
find it to be drip. I find it to be drip.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
Actually,
so
do you,
much.
do you
Thank you
guys
for having me.
wanna? Because Charles was kind enough to join us in our studio,
I'm
not just
going
in
to
his mansion.
answer a few questions.
Do you guys maybe want to switch over to the couch on the left?
Sure, no issue.
Let's go to the couch.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Charles Alex V, for joining us. Charles Alex V, storied lawyer in the state of Ridgeway, practices in multiple other jurisdictions, recently made the state bar director, recently became the state chief public defender. We thank him for his service, especially with our legal community being in such turmoil. We appreciate any help we can get from the public defender's office. Now, Charles, first question of the night tonight. What do you think is if you could change anything about Ridgeway, you wake up one day and you're Paul, or you're Square, you're Dave, what is the first thing you would change about our legal system?
That's a very good question. I think we need to go back to kind of the old system we had, especially with expungements. I find that, my attorneys have been doing a great job within my office of processing expungements. But obviously, we don't need people waiting, hours or even days, for someone to help them out. We should just be able to give them, like Clark does, 8 sentences of reasoning and just, submit them. At least,
Yeah.
I support, maintain the current website for, most of our judicial affairs, but we need to kind of, give it back to the player base a little bit, because out of the, hundreds of players of Ridgeway, probably only a small fraction are lawyers and who know the complicated system it takes.
Yeah, I think good insights here. I think we can all agree that the website has its issues, but overall it's been a nice addition. It's been nice to have something that's. I know the complexity of the website is a bit of an issue, but I can appreciate that someone's willing to put in all that work and pay for the storage and stuff like that. It's honestly quite a nice thing to have. Now, what do you think can be done in the way of bar licenses? I know that there's a couple avenues that the state bar and the Supreme Court can explore in terms of, getting more people out there, maybe setting up, and where we have a paralegal system, where people are supposed to kind of train, and then at a certain point, then people, train under a bar certified attorney who's been designated by the State Bar Association, as being kind of credible, and undergo a bit of a training program, with that then resulting in a bar license. What do you think can be done? Because I read these documents, I read the papers, and the framework is sort of there, but the implementation is what's difficult, right? Because we have a small pool of attorneys that we can pick from, but we have an even smaller pool of attorneys that are mature and qualified enough to actually teach people how to be an attorney. What do you think can be done, as state bar director and someone who works quite closely with the Supreme Court? What do you think can be done in that way to sort of start setting up a program that's almost a Let's See style program, right? That we can train people, teach them how to be lawyers, and then they get a bar degree and can kind of go out in the world and start practicing law.
Yeah, I'm going to answer both parts of your question. I think in getting your bar license, for those uninformed, we have 2 main avenues. You can go take the uniformed bar exam, which is a comprehensive exam. We seek to upgrade it to match the new inaugural laws. It's currently based off the old Code of Statutes, which for the purposes of evaluation, pretty fine. If you know how to do that, you can certainly work with the new inaugural laws. Otherwise, you can transfer a petition from out of state. If you come from Old Ridgeway, Clark, Old Mayflower, and I believe Firestone too. You can petition to have your bar granted, and I don't think there's been, within my memory, a time that I've had to deny a certification, a transfer, or the bar is not hard to pass if you take the time to actually do it. But I think for gaining more alternative routes, I think we should bring back something to the NUSA style provisional license. That license program, although from NUSA, we needed to get more attorneys in, and it's a good valuable step that someone can supervise, never an attorney can supervise someone who wants to gain their license, and they get a fast track to their bar license. I think that's one steps we have to go forward. I think another step is also to work with the legislator or the legislative, excuse me, to expand our jurisdictions that we can accept transfer from. Someone came to my DMs recently and asked, "Hey, I have a license from Boulder. Can I transfer it?" And I sadly had to say no because, that's not within the law. I can't transfer it from there. But I think we need to work to find viable communities where people can transfer their bars from. And, I think the State Bar in the next coming days and weeks will be publishing more things regarding provisional licenses and, paralegals. We have that authority pursuant to the inaugural laws. Uh, we have that authority to regulate paralegals, and that's something that during my time as State Bar Director, I wish to implement, and we'll do that through various avenues. Hope that answers your question, sir.
Yeah, I think is important is when Ridge made, I can't remember the exact timeline, maybe you can help me out here, but at one point we allowed for a round of NUSA provisional licenses, right? So people who had practiced in NUSA, who could prove, showcases similar to an out-of-state transfer, but, with a bit more rigor, allowing these people to petition coming from NUSA into Ridgeway. What are your thoughts on perhaps doing maybe a second round of NUSA provisional licenses and also maybe expanding to other USAs like OSF USA or, there's a couple other big USA communities that have, legal communities. And as you said, Boulder, right? There are attorneys who did practice in Boulder who would be qualified to practice here if they petitioned and they were allowed to petition here. What do you think about doing a second round of NUSA provisional licenses or sort of expanding the scope of out-of-state transfers?
Of course, I just mentioned that I support expanding. There's two methods in which we can go about this. The state Supreme Court, which is the Supreme Court of Ridgeway, would have to, institute another NUSA policy that allows us to take in provisional licenses. I have no problem, giving out provisional licenses and, having them meet our standards to ensure that. I don't have disagreements about letting other USAs too. As someone who, started their I've been in Ridgeway since September of 2025. And before that, I barely did law in USAs. And that's where I originated from. So I think it's important to find that, there's qualified people who may not discover the wonderful community like Ridgeway and otherwise, the main legal groups like Clark or Ridgeway. I think it's good to get them involved because they have they have different ideas and different point of views. So hope that answers it. Good, sir. Also, I would like to welcome Mr. Rummy, who's a great man.
How about this gun crime though, huh?
How's it going?
Maybe.
How's it going, buddy? I want to say one thing and one thing clearly. And before I begin, I'd like to make it clear that I am not in any way referring to any of my colleagues on the Supreme Court. And I have no animosity and the utmost respect for my colleagues on the Supreme Court, and nothing in this statement references them. The people claiming that the judicial community is dead because of the website are blatantly lying, are misrepresenting the facts, as I will demonstrate with the data in a later statement. It is true that expungements for the average player are hard to file. Initially, there was a plan to move expungements in-game. This, on the web services team, was achieved when we completed our write and read API to allow the developer oversight team to integrate the website in-game for expungements. Unfortunately, for reasons unbeknownst to me, although we provided all the API keys and details, these integrations were never made. I am a believer, as I was when most of the people who seek to criticize the website now as the downfall of the legal community, who left when Ridge made was a thing, and who abandoned the legal community till Square and everyone came back and now decide that they are the arbiters of what is right and what is wrong. I do recognize that if DO won't put the fix, I will. That is why, as of now, filing expungements in the state of Ridgeway for the average player will be much more simple. I ask that someone with tagging resident permissions. Please tag residents in government announcements as soon as possible. New expungement portal. Simple to use. Have fun. Anyone who cannot use that portal.
Another win.
Anyone who cannot use that portal is probably a little retarded. Now, as for the data, the website, of course, saw major filings when Clark County collapsed, and also pre-Clark County. I will put out a full website statement later to show that the politicians that have been trying to dunk on the website as the reason our legal community died are lying. But even when we came back, our legal community remains pretty active. In the past, in just the month of May, there have been 199 filings. Keep in mind, we have like 3 or 4 judges on Superior Court, if not less. When the website was first founded, there were 479 filings in a 5-month period. The only time the legal community has been dead from a filing perspective has been during the times that this game has been fully out, like when the community's been fully dead. In fact, when the entire legal community or the leaders of this legal community gave up on this group when Ridgeway happened, it was a small contingent of people, such as Justice Techie, such as former Superior Court Judge Robin 5D, and such as former Superior Court Judge and at the time Chief Public Defender Violet, who stepped up, put in the time when all seemed lost, to build a system that remained competitive with Clark's when they were at their peak. I will not stand as a bearer of responsibility or a political scapegoat. The data disagrees with what the politicians are saying. I will not name anyone since it's inappropriate to name anyone, but I find it ridiculous that because of factors that are independent of the website, people are now claiming. I have to be limited with what I speak because I have a judicial responsibility here, but people are trying to reshift the blame in order to protect their friends. The people who actually run the show know why the legal community is withering, and in many cases, their friends bear the responsibility. RidgewayCourts.org remains the most successful Roe law website, probably in the history of Roe nations, Roe states, whatever. There has been full data integrity the entire time, and even while Ridgeway has died, it has housed our records. This is not a website problem. There will always be a barrier for professional entry into the legal community if you're a lawyer, of course. And the expungement problem, which was supposed to be patched by DO, has now been patched by me. That is my only comment on the matter. I will not be taking questions. Thank you very much.
The Palmer Times is happy to announce that we've just received a $100,000 fine from the State Broadcasting Service for having I'm Not Rummy on the show.
I'll foot the bill.
Thank you, Charles. I agree
with Rummy. I agree with that. You know, I value his opinion very deeply. You know, he's one of the few people that, whenever I've been criticized, has said very nice things to me, and he's also, been somewhat of, one of the guiding lights that I've taken from within Ridgeway, and even Clark too. I think that the community is not dead, and I think that the same people who say we are dead are the same people who haven't really been here, haven't really been experiencing it, or haven't been, on the front lines of actually what needs to happen. Because within my office, we've gained new attorneys. Like, I don't see how, they might not be as experienced, but isn't that the cycle of our judiciary, is to provide new people to funnel the old people and to ensure that, experience grows over time? Is that not our judiciary process?
I think that there's some good insights. I think the vast majority of competent people in our state recognize the value of the website, and I think the majority of the frustration from the people qualified to be frustrated in the first place has been around the simplicity aspect of the expungement process. As clerk of the Superior Court, I probably received 2 to 3 DMs a day asking how to expunge records, and I'm sure judges who people who are ranked in the actual main Discord server
received the same about every day, somewhere
Yeah.
near there.
Um,
And
I do think that Rummy was very, very, very quickly able to code. We spoke like maybe an hour and a half ago. He's very, very quickly able to code an expungement portal, which I'm looking at now, which looks nice. I thank him for that. I think we just have to wait and see what's going to happen here with our legal system overall.
I think that I'm not going to call names, but those that have said that we need to do something. Of course, I'm deeply concerned by Chief Justice Enforcement Beyond, and Justice Powell making statements in regards to the current situation of our state. But I think that the people who most of the people, there's some that have a right to be upset. But I just saw something funny. But there's a lot of people that don't deserve to have their opinion be valued in this sort of thing. And I'm not gonna name names, but you can easily find that out for yourself. So
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Alrighty.
Wow.
Well, look, you guys, I'm very pleased that we were able to have this first broadcast from the Palmer Times. The first time in a very long time. I remember the last broadcast I tuned into was the election night between Vince Vant and Matrix OC were running against each other, and I mean, I can't think of any
we have an
other
election
time
going
where
on
there
for
was.
that. We have an election going on. There's a race for the AG, which is going to have a huge role in our new judiciary system, and in reviving our judiciary system with the systems we have today.
We actually need to get a mass
I
ping on March Titanic 2 so he can host election night again. Just quick little side note there. Everyone mass ping March Titanic 2. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, look, I want to say thank you to the Ridgeway State Police and other RSP, RCSO, MCPD. Thank you guys so much for coming to help us here at the Palmer Times studio. Thank you to Timbo Walk for. Oh yeah, my apologies.
Thank you to
Sorry.
all the viewers. I'm the best thing that's happened to the
Okay, let's
the
put
Palmer
Charles
Times
down.
since.
Let's put Charles down. Thank you. Hey, if we
I
can get
think-
Charles off the stage, actually, it's kind of stinking up the place.
I think actually my beautiful accessories on top of my head are the best thing to happen to the show in a minute. So
Okay, before this broadcast breaks down, the Palmer Times is proud to endorse Sage for Ridgeway County Sheriff in the upcoming election. The Palmer Times is confident in his ability to lead the department into this new era of Ridgeway, of renewed activity. We recognize that he has been able to make considerable achievements in the community, gain the respect of regular residents like me, and yeah, we're very happy to endorse him for county sheriff. The Palmer Times will also be releasing shortly a endorsement for the Attorney General of the state, which at the moment is a bit of a heat race between Matthew Sandringham and nobody. Yeah, thank you to Timberwalk for making the graphics, making the videos. A lot of work behind the scenes that very few people get to have a look into. Very, very, very appreciate him.
So true. And next time he said that he'll fix the audio for the streams. I think that's what he said anyways. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just stole words out of his mouth that he didn't say. But that's something that he would say. Let's go. Palmer
Okay,
Times is back. Woo!
Palmer Times is back. I've just received a transmission that Charles is running against Matthew Sandringham. Maybe if Charles stops saying every 5 seconds, then maybe he could win that. Just kidding, Charles. I love you, but you got to stop saying
You know?
Ugh. Oh. Palmer Times is back, baby. Woo!
Heck yeah. Join the Palmer Times and start writing. We need more I'm not even gonna say that word, reporters, because I still can't say that word, even though it's been the title of our reporters for over 3 years now. A year. So yeah, Join the Palmer Times, and you get paid to write articles, and you get to see information that's been submitted anonymously. If you wanna report confidential information, go to the Palmer Times server. We have a bot where you can enter in whatever you want to say, and the bot will send a message that says anonymous. So we have no idea who it's coming from. That's pretty cool. Please go use that bot. I put a lot of money into that bot. And you know what? It's kind of hurting my heart that it's going to waste. So go do something with that bot. Anyways, yeah, and the website too. Palmer Times is expensive. Please pay us. Developer oversight. Please help us.
Alrighty.
All right.
Meow meow meow
Gonna
meow
end
meow
up
meow
with,
meow.
with some dancing. Oh, look what I'm hitting up here.